Welcome to Daybreak, welcome to Tuesday, welcome to Engage, another beautiful episode. Let me see, just by way of information, at about 8:35 we'll be crossing over. Our Muslim brothers and sisters are having a prayer, so we're going to be crossing over to them. So in case that happens, usitie shaka. Washatupatia holiday kesho jameni, si tuwachie pia waombe kidogo. Ni muhimu sana. All right, so of course today we're talking about a very interesting topic. Now last week, or was it last week but one, there was an article in the newspaper where somebody had divorced. There was a divorce, and according to the court papers, the husband was it the husband or the wife? The wife was complaining that when she asked the husband to choose between yeye na mama yake, or now her mother-in-law, the husband said mother-in-law, akawacha huyu mwingine kwa mata. And so today we're asking, is it mommy or me, and how do you live, especially now that situation with the in-laws, and what happens? And already Annitah has already given us a preface statement, kwani alioa mama yake. Hiyo ni preface. She's prefaced the statement. Annitah Raey is here with us. Karibu sana. Welcome. We're glad to see you here. Last week mambo ilikuwa kidogo hapa na pale.
You listen, not a good person. Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Karibu sana. And CJ Atemo is with us as well.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Looking all calm.
And anakaribia Liverpool. Unajua Liverpool walishinda.
And then the rest CJ is sitting like, Annitah, I'm ready for you.
He has not let me rest.
No, we were here when Willis said Liverpool weren't going to win.
Yes.
So I said, I'll be here. I'll carry hankies.
I was
then I saw him make
Willis
a switch.
When they won. He is the worst person to ever watch a game with. He's like, Annitah, when we're Manchester, we're supporting Liverpool. Then when Liverpool scored, it was a Kenya first. I was like,
yes, we have to be Kenya first.
That is wrong.
We are always Kenyans first.
No.
Before we are Manu supporters, before we are... Always remember. Well, let's get into the topic today. And first of all, based on that, I know, and in fact, even on that, that article came and we read it on air. One of our cameramen here, Timo, said that we don't know the full story. Hatujui the nitty-gritty, so we can't make judgments, right? So what could be the reason? There are people who, after marriage, they live with their mother-in-laws. Annitah, first of all, what do you think about this whole mother or me situation, about that?
I think, and CJ, correct me if I'm wrong, I might be wrong. The Bible says you will leave your parents. Does it not?
Leave and cleave.
Does it not,
does
CJ?
so.
There.
It does.
So why are you still staying with your parents again and you're married? And who are you marrying for? Is it to show to your parents you're married, or are you marrying because you need a wife, or are you marrying because you're of age to marry? Why are you marrying, And I never, and this one is very personal, so this is not a Willis or CJ. This is me saying or asking, why are you marrying your wife and taking advice from your mother? Why are you bringing a woman? Your mother is a woman. And that's what men don't understand. Your mother is a woman. She's your mother, of course. She's the only woman who's going to support you unconditionally and love you, but she's a woman. So why are you putting two women together and both are fighting for your attention and they want your space, both of them? And you decided to go out and choose another one. So you have to leave one. And you're not leaving them like you're dumping your mother or anything. This is your mother. That will never change. Why would you even put your wife in a situation where they compete with your mother? That's wrong in the first place. Unless you're married to your mother. If you go out of your way, you feel you're a man enough, you have matured, you have found your way in life, and you want to live with another human being, respect her enough to get her away from your family. Because at the end of the day, no matter how good your mother is, or how bad your wife is, or how good your wife is, or bad, they are both women. And two women together fighting over the intention of one man, mother or wife goes away. They become two women fighting. So men need to understand that. Mama yako ni bibi ya babako. So ni mwanamke. Difference tu ni mama yako. Now this is someone's daughter, but she's your wife also. And she's going to be a mother, by the way. So separate the two. When you get married, move away from your mother and move away from her mother also. Focus on your wife. How do you even choose between your mother and your wife? How?
There are 2 points of question, but I'll allow CJ to weigh in first. There's a colleague of mine who also works here, but because I didn't ask him whether I can mention his name, he said that, just like you've said, my mother is the only relationship that will remain
constant.
My wife naweza pata divorce, but mama yangu ni mama yangu. So I will continue to choose my mother. What do you think about this?
And when you just started, that's the thought that came to me, first of all. It's how people are socialized. Mostly, we get into relationships with the thought that this is not a permanent thing. You know, there's a saying that blood is thicker than water. So somebody feels this lady can leave. I'm not saying it's the right thinking, but that's the thinking that forms the kind of issues that we have, where somebody feels, not even just with their mothers, even just with their siblings, they feel my brother is my brother. This one will always be my brother. This other person can leave. You know, it happens both ways, both with the women and with the men. So sometimes people don't understand the weight of the relationship that they get into. They feel this other person is an outsider who is replaceable. And so when there are issues between both sides, they feel like there's a side that is constant. It's not supposed to be so. Because when you get into the place of marriage, then you're coming into a permanent, it's a covenant relationship, which is far deeper than the blood relationship that comes by birth. But because of not understanding the weight of that, then we always fall back to the thing of blood is thicker than water. So there'll always be a lot of that kind of conflict of people not knowing. They think, you know, maybe my wife might pack up and leave. This man can turn on me and leaves. I cannot leave my family. They'll always be there. Your family is your family. It comes from those formations and fears that people have. Yeah.
And so then what do you do? Because another thing that, you know, we are having this discussion, immediately that thing broke, and we were talking and we were like, no, if you get a point that the lady is now asking, pick between your mother and between me, that lady has been pushed to the wall. There must be something.
But you see, the problem with Kwanzaa boys, oh, man. We have men who like, because there's nothing as irritating as a man who always says, my mother said, wow, you feel like I should not even have married this man. I should go and ask the mother to propose to me. Like, the mother is more of my husband than my husband is. And you see, every woman wants a man who's dependent of thinking, dependent of his actions. Like, you don't, depending on, you're not, not even independent of his thinking. Like, you don't need to consult your mom. Akuna ile ati, oh, kabla nikufanyia shopping, wacha niulize madhe what she, guy. You know, you even did. It's so sad. Really, do you know how depressing it is? You sit with your husband, you're like, babe, I was thinking we can invest in this. He's like, I'll get back to you. Then when I'm scared, mom, you feel like, oh, you know, it's quite, it breaks your heart. You're like, who am I married to? So at the end of the day, a woman like this, maybe amevumilia sana. And you see also, and to be honest, if you let your mother-in-law, not even your mother-in-law, even your brother or your sister or your friend, so much into your relationship, they can influence it either positively or negatively. And you might find maybe the mother-in-law anapenda mtoto wake. So anasema maybe it's out of love. You know, sometimes it's not out of hate. It's out of maybe genuine love. As a parent, you get overprotective or possessive of your own child. Maybe you're a single mom. You've invested everything. This kid is your life. So every step of the way you want to be there, but you don't know when you're crossing the line. Because once he's married, he has to create a family of his own. Doesn't mean, and mother-in-laws have to understand, manishi tunakunyanganya mtoto. Kai ni wako. You know, we can never even be the mother to this kid, you know. But at the end of the day, you have to respect the fact that he's grown up and he's creating life, you know. But now their mother-in-laws, umepikia mtoto wangu vizuri, unajua napenda kula hivi, you're like, does he even know what I'm going through with this man?
Umepika na nyanya. Tomato paste.
If you're married to a man who, anaitwa baba na mamake, go back to your parents. It's a lost cause. Your husband akipikiwa baba umekula wahala. It's been real. Go back to your parents.
No, my grandmother calls me Fafa.
Well, that's workable. Fafa means father. You know, like yes. Maybe you're named after, because of the naming you can be called. But Baba, can you imagine? I can hope the women tell us on Twitter. I would love to know. Kuna mtu anaitwa Baba na, like you're married and your mother calls you Baba umekula. God. Me would pray, like I go to get saved, CJ. Like, this one is the Lord.
You know, Willis, when people begin to relate, they need to also interrogate the other relationships around them. Like, you're not just relating with this. Yes. You're not just relating with this person only. And when you marry, as much as we say, you know, marriage is between two people, the truth is it's never just between two people. There's a way, there are a lot of influences, whether these people are there physically or not, their influences are in there. This person has been shaped by a family, they've been shaped by experiences, they've been shaped by certain indoctrinations, if I may put that. They may be cultural, they may be religious or something. So the person that you're meeting here is a sum total of the people that they have met. So it's not actually between two people. Sometimes the things that they play out on you is even because of heartbreaks they've had before. So you're actually relating with their exes. You're dealing with certain all of that. So it is important to interrogate the relationships that this person has, and then begin to understand who are the important people in this person's life, because that also gives you a glimpse of how they form their decisions, how they make their decisions, how they form their opinions. If the best friend to this person is somebody who does not believe in relationships and marriage, you're already in trouble. Even before you're going in, you're already in trouble, because somewhere along the line, when you have issues and this person has to talk to the other person, whether it is a friend, a colleague, a sibling, or a parent, the first thing that person will say is, get out. So you're already fighting a losing battle. And especially when it is somebody that they say, you know, that one is untouchable. We've come a long way, we've grown up together and all of that. Also, in the same manner then, you need to know whether this man, how has he related with his mother? Because those issues are best raised before you even cross the line and get into the marriage place. And you shouldn't even look like you're competing, but you need to let this person know, look, we have something else over here. I appreciate that's your mother, I appreciate that's your friend, or whatever it is, but I would prefer we work out our issues over here. If in case we cannot work out issues, then we can seek counsel together. But you begin to draw them to the place where they see there is a need for them now to focus on this relationship more than you trying to seem to be destroying the other relationship. Because sometimes people realize that late, or they think, you know, okay, it's obvious, once he's married me, he will leave his mother or something. Then you get in there, then you realize his fears have hit the roof. Mostly those are because of fears. His fears have hit the roof, and then he begins to draw more to the mother, and then the woman is even more frustrated. Sometimes the woman also draws to her mother. I think interrogate the relationships around the person that you relate with.
So how then do you, you know, like maybe like as a woman, how would you, Annitah, for example, bring it up that, hey, apo mbona kila saa, because you know there are people who are also, like you said, maybe they've been raised, they're not only is it a single parent situation, they're the only child. Yeah. So then now it becomes an issue of how do you bring it up to say that, okay.
And sometimes they feel they owe their parent.
Yes.
Like they feel my mother
suffered for me to get me to this point. And then you know, Annitah
you know, using me as an example, I would actually say that, but I wouldn't. You see, the thing is, and this I'm saying on both sides, we have to respect our relationships. And I'm very shocked we're on the same page with CJ today. What a way to come back, you know. At the end of the day, our mothers are our mothers. And you see, one thing our men need to understand, we also have fathers. And some of us literally live under our father's shadows. For girls and their fathers are everything, but we don't drag this into relationship. We try not to. And for any woman who does that, it's wrong. You cannot compare your husband to your dad. He will never be your dad. You know, you cannot actually. There's this, people always say you marry someone who's close to your mom or someone who actually looks like your dad, because that's what you're looking for. That's what you've had your entire life. That's what you want. That's what you've been loving, so you need something like that. But you also have to know, and the most important thing really is when to draw and where to draw the line. And also as women, you also know, as we have a mouth problem, so how to ask it. Si venye nimeuliza hapa before tuanze sister, unajua.
Umeona.
So you text, you call your husband brother, so tunashindanga hivi na madhe ama form, you know, what are you deciding? And the problem with us is always how we ask things. And you see, a woman is an emotional person. She will be asking when she's angry. She will never ask in a calm situation. She waits for the anger to kick in. And you see what is going to irritate a woman. And men need to understand, when you put these two women in competition, unknowingly or knowingly, you know, never ever even put them in a place where they should even be feeling like they need to match each other. They can never match each other. One is your mother, she gave you life, and one is your wife, she's gonna give you life. You get? So both of them are adding to your life. You have to understand, it's not a competition. And women need to stop competing with their mother-in-laws. However, you cannot give birth to this man. He's already a grown man. And you can't replace the mom, not even in the other lifetime. This is the mother. So when you enter into a relationship as a woman, stop going to fight with your mother-in-law. So tunaingia na mentality ya, oh, mother anijui. Even nisikia kipanga hizo finances, atajua nimeolewa. Sawa, and then...
You see, that's what I'm talking about. Well, it's like, now, who are the circle of this person you're relating with? Because if the entire circle, I don't know why women fight women. Because most of the people who will come up with the issues of, you know, mother-in-laws, they're women. And then eventually... Annitah is going to be a mother-in-law somewhere.
Someday.
That is scary.
You know,
Annitah, I will remind you of this conversation.
No, I always say when my son marries, he needs to live very far away from me. Because I love my son.
But you see,
and every time
Annitah,
I see a woman do something bad, I'm like, nah, to my son.
The problem, it is not a physical problem, because you can be physically absent. Yet, we've got phones, you've got other ways to reach this person. I mean, a parent can be as far as the US and they run your home in Kenya. So it's not even about physical presence. There are people who will be physically present, but they let you mind your business. Some of those things are very cultural. I know, like Indians, they can live within the same compound, you know, with their children, grandchildren, and all of that, and everybody minds their own business. Again, it's a cultural thing. But there are families that you'll find a parent is all the way abroad, but they still control what happens over here. I think the discussion is to bring this person and let them understand you're on the same team, and then you're not against the people who are important in their life. But you feel there are certain things that should not be going out. You need to sort them out as the two of you. So they feel that safety. Because, you know, we hate change. Naturally, human beings hate change. Well, most creatures do hate change, because change threatens their survival. We talked about transition last week.
Yes.
You know, the moment somebody is feeling like you're pulling them out of something, they begin to feel that they're at a disadvantage. And they're wondering, so why are you pulling them out of that? They begin to feel insecure. And sometimes that is the resistance that people have. I mean, even if it is just a lady, your wife, and then she had these friends, and you begin to say, I need you to drop your friends, she is not going to say, okay. There's going to be a reaction, because they feel that they're being threatened in a way. So the thing is to win over this person to the place where they no longer even feel there is any competition. Bring them to the place where they can also relate with your mother. If you're the man, they can relate with your mother respectfully, probably allow them to do the dealings. You reduce the number of phone calls you do with your mom. If there are certain issues concerning the family, the two of you, sometimes you can let your wife then be the one who converses with your mom. If it is money or something, then you say, Mom, my wife is going to send you the money or something. So you make them get used to working together, so they stop seeing each other as enemies and opponents, you know. But if it is me who is always dealing with my mom, then she's not sure. Maybe when I travel and she needs some support, so my wife doesn't have that, or she sends less, my mother is going to think that this woman does not like her. So I think the men need to empower their wives to deal with their mothers, and to make their mothers also be comfortable dealing with their wives.
But what about the thing where, you know, it's a very interesting situation, because sometimes we hear things like when a woman is marrying a dude and atafuta baba yake.
Baba yake is true.
And
That's
when
true.
a man is marrying
it's the mother's
woman,
characters.
yeah.
If your mother is a strong woman, you're attracted to what? You see, the first person you fall in love with is your mother as a boy, and the first person you fall in love with is your dad, because that's what you've grown up with.
It's called Oedipus complex.
Yes, brave. Ulikuwa umelala kigugu hiki tu. Mbona ngoja moment ya kuikaina. So you see, and that's what even as parents you should understand.
Yes.
If you're a broken person raising a child, she's going to fall in love with broken people, because that's what she's used to loving. And she's going to grow into a fixer, because your child will always want to fix you. But at the end of the day, well, once you grow up and you've grown up into this person and you decide to marry someone who's like your mother, now sit down and look at your mother's marriage. And you should always ask yourself, are you sure you want a wife like this? You know, men will never look at their mothers as anyone's wife. Hawezi angalia mama yake kama bibi ya babake, anaangalia mama yake kama mama yake.
Ni mom.
If your father says your mother did something wrong, that boy would die. My mother will never, you know. But you need to sit down and understand, your mother is a wife to your father, or is a wife to someone, is a girlfriend to someone. So she's also a woman somewhere else. You need to put space. And also one thing, let's be honest, we have wicked mother-in-laws. There are those mother-in-laws who are waiting for you, like, wacha oe, nataka kuona ananiletea nani. She's already doing press-ups mentally and physically. Like, wacha aletwe. Mleta huku wiki moja tukae na yeye tujuane. You know, if he's coming back, she's left you. You're like, what happened in Shags? You get? Also, women have to prepare for this, because there are mothers who are... the other day I was reading a book and it was talking about how parents who don't have a life outside their kids, their kids are their life. So hata ikubali mtu aingie, anaona ni kama umekuja kuchukua mtu wake, so ni possessive, atapush away wives, atapush away husbands even for their daughters, because huyu mtoto ni maisha yake. And ako scared huyu mtu yake akiondoka hapo ana maisha. So ni wale wa mama pata mtu huyu nitalea, you get, anataka huyu mtoto akae hapo. So you imagine you walking into a home like that, and maybe you as a woman you get married to a son whose mother has nothing else to live for other than that kid.
That boy.
So you have to understand, you're already in a battlefield, liking it or not. And women have to understand, sometimes there are fights you don't pick. Understand this woman, understand where she's coming from. And imagine you can actually be able to live with her, but pia wanaume, put your foot down. Are you marrying your wife or are you marrying your mother? Or is your mother marrying your wife? Or just kuzi kuna wale unamanga na mama, baba hawa tutakaa, tutakuchungia bibi sababu baba venye unakunywa hautawahi pata bibi. Ukipata msichana hivi anakukubali venye uko, huyo tunakaa naye. So you're married to your mother-in-law indirectly.
You know, the flip side also, Willis, is that there are sometimes people may have this misconception that the mother-in-law is running the house, yet it is the man. It's just the same way a mother-in-law can feel it's the wife that has changed my son, yet it is the guy, because they don't want to believe that this person is making certain kind of decisions. So they want to blame somebody else when this is just this person is acting the way he's acting. So somebody will be feeling, I think it's the mother who's influencing him. Yet it's that guy who is making very bad decisions, but you don't want to believe this thing is all over your face. You don't want to believe that this guy is actually making those kind of decisions. So you begin to feel like, I think it's the mother.
You need someone to blame if your marriage is not working and you can't blame anyone else.
You can't look in the mirror.
And funny enough, the mother-in-law is the easiest blame for any woman.
Yeah.
At alienda kwa mamake ushago last week kutoka rudi. Alipigiwa simu na mamake asubuhi mood imechange like hey. But honestly women need to, as CJ said, which is so sad, and women, we hate hearing the truth. We need to stop pulling each other down, mother-in-law, sister-in-law, you know, but also we need men who can put their foot down. And this one
so
I'm going to
insist.
Mwanaume si kubwa. Kwanza mimi mambo ya mother-in-law kushow up kwa nyumba yako. Karibu uta mother-in-law sister. Oya, mother. Form. Umetoka maybe nibelege na rieng. You're coming home and maybe you from work, you sort of, then you walk in and find your mother-in-law, you're like, Kai, am I even dressed well for my mother-in-law to just, and you know, you find her there, she decides, because there's a new bazaar Nairobi Willis where there's no even breathing space and she's staying over for 2 weeks. Where?
But Annitah, that's where again sometimes, I'm still coming back to this man. Sometimes this conversation was had before. It's the man who did not communicate to his wife. You understand? So you might be...
You could have been told that nitakuja Wednesday.
Yeah, maybe
but jamaa kasahau kusema.
Or he just did not want to say.
But why is a mother-in-law,
thinking,
CJ, why is a mother-in-law coming to my house and not telling me? That's disrespect of some sort though.
You see, the whole center here, Annitah, is the man. Because the person that you both connected to is the man. So it is the man that is actually going to work out all of this. That's the midfielder, right?
Yes. Why not?
This is the person who's going to hold everybody together. So the mother may be feeling like, you know, there's something that she needs to do, or even she's even coming for medical attention or whatever it is. Then the son does not inform the wife, because he feels like, what's the big deal? Because again, sometimes men are very poor communicators. And then this ends up making the lady in his house feel like, what kind of mother-in-law is this? And the mother-in-law is not going to check out with the wife like, did my son tell you I was coming? Because she thinks it's obvious. No, you can't go into somebody's house and then you begin investigating how they're relating. You know?
It's the same way I would not show up to any mother-in-law's house. I would want to call her. I would want to call her out of respect, because it's your house either way. Sasa ma'am, uliambiwa tunakuja. Just that, unajua. So the same way, mother-in-law, wacha to draw hapa ni heshima. Kule ni kwako, huku ni kwangu. Let's draw the line.
Because
this is your son, but this is my house, you know.
On the flip side, there are those who relate well with their daughters-in-law, and then the son is upset. Because the son will be feeling like, Mom, you didn't tell me you're coming. And like I told your wife.
Your wife should have told you.
Yeah. So again, I think we're putting too much on the woman. I think this, on the mother-in-law, I think this thing needs to be fixed at the marriage level. It's that man.
It goes back to communication.
It gets back to that man and his wife. Because again, sometimes even the mothers-in-law are fed stuff about the wives. So if this man has been telling his mother, you know, this girl is not doing this, is not doing this, that woman is going to have resentment towards a girl that probably he's not met, he doesn't know anything about, and she begins to feel like that's her own girl, yet it is the man. So we're still going to come back. The man is the one who has to fix the mess. Yes,
I had once, what's his name? I get my Nini from very weird places. So Madia.
What do you mean? You want to use a Madia quote on
this? Is actually very... She said that the reason why people don't like your wife is because at the family meetings, you keep telling them how bad she is.
True.
And then you expect that when she shows up,
they're going to smile.
Everybody's going to smile. And it's the same thing with
what
we are telling our parents about
and our siblings,
other than our siblings
and our friends.
So then you wonder why I'm gonna pain you. I don't. Some people lack the switch. You know, people they can't switch off from being.
It's where you're told you should always be very observant of how his friends treat you or her friends treat you. Don't even be observant sometimes of how, people focus on observing the person you're dating. You don't look at the environment. Stay woke about how the friends treat you.
I'm glad you're on this side.
No, I'm not. I'm not on that side. But one thing, my stand remains, if a mother-in-law is going to walk into my house, it is not a demand. It is mere respect. The same way I would never walk into a house without calling her. Hata niambiwe nimetoka kuongea na mama. Leta hiyo simu niongee na yeye. Usikate, let me talk to her. For the fact that I want to know, mom, kuna kitu pengine unahitaji. I would want to ask. You just don't show up. Your mother-in-law is not your friend. You don't show up. So the same way, mother-in-law, we are not friends. When you're coming to my house, you talk to your son. It's okay. Your son actually married, just so you know. So call the wife. And let the wife know. Sasa mom, nilikuwa natoka ushago. Mnataka kitu. Lakini you just show up there like when ni Rambo umefika. Bags at the door like I am here.
I still came back to that place where it's the man to empower his wife, and it is the man to make the mother understand that she needs to relate. Because the mother-in-law is not just going to pick a call from nowhere. She's not been relating with your wife, and then she calls and says, I'm coming. She also feels, out of the same respect, she also feels she needs to be given permission to deal. And it is the son that would give her permission to start calling the wife. Because again, some sons will be like, Mom, why do you call my wife? That's my wife. This thing has many angles to it. Yeah. Some men will also be, Mom, why do you call my wife without telling me that that's my wife? If you have anything, talk to me.
Yeah, I've had that. I've had that before as well.
Yeah,
women stay woke. A man like that is going to take another woman to his mom. Stay woke. Make sure, even if it's a bad relationship, have a relationship with your mother-in-law. Even if it's a bad one, have one.
Heads up.
Heads up, in case because even if you have a relationship, good or bad, he's going to tell you. It's either to insult you, to hurt you, or to actually warn you. So stay woke. But a man who keeps you away from his mother is hiding something. No. Every man would want all the women in his life to skizana. And I mean all the women. So,
oh, man.
So then what about the fact about living? There are people who live with their mother-in-laws. There's some who lived with their mother-in-laws and it's been absolutely amazing. There are some who it's war and culture notwithstanding. What do you think about? What's the rule on that?
I think for respect on both sides, and that's both man and woman, don't stay near, not even your mother-in-law. Ushaona ishida kuleta relatives into your house. As CJ said, we have a bad mentality of thinking blood is thicker than water. I have a different mentality. I always say blood makes you related, but loyalty makes you family, There's blood.
All right.
I know. So, you see, your relative, and sometimes I tell people, family only owes you a last name, and then it ends there. But whoever is loyal to you becomes your family, even through friendships, through work. You find someone who's so loyal to you for so long, you become family. You have to know how to differentiate these relationships in your life. So kuleta mamako, this is your mother. Your mother will never see anyone treating you nicely, guy. Because your mother will be like, maybe you're having a conversation with your wife and your wife says, that. Your mother will ask you in the evening, And you see, if your mother tells you that 3-4 times, you will start actually having a problem with your wife over it. And maybe there was no more before. You will never have your own space to grow. You will never have your own space to think for yourself, do things for yourself. And every woman, when she gets married, she has a dream home. This is what you want to create for you and your husband with privacy. Sasa niulize, mkipigana usiku mother-in-law wako hapo ama mtukanane, what happened? You're waking up your mom, or maybe your younger sibling is in the house. So you people are pretending you don't fight because your younger brother has visited for a month. Ile bali mutakuwa nayo after your 1 month, mna need to go to therapy. You need to have your own space. And it's both for men and women. Sometimes you find a woman gets married and blackmails the husband into bringing the siblings. And women have this habit. Oh, unajua babe, sasa sistangu ameenda college, taki rent hostel. Kila mtu apambane na hali yake. Niliambiwa it is cotton and your condition. Pambana na hali yako. So it's just keep family out of your marriage. Trust me, not in a bad way, not in bad faith. it's your family, and the wife has a family that will never change, but bringing them into your relationship sometimes is for the worst. That's why you hear scandals.
I love you use the word sometimes.
Yeah,
I
not
love,
all the time,
yeah,
sometimes.
I love you use the word sometimes.
Leo sijasema na ultimate dream. I know it's sometimes because kuna good family members, kuna wengine utamleta bibi asema ulimletea bibi wa pili, bwana aseme, yeah, wewe leta mpaka sistake. This is a good family reunion, you know, and it really hurts because you see your family is your family. So if your family breaks your marriage, you have to live with your family for the rest of your life, you know. They won't go anywhere. So sometimes it's a tricky situation.
It's a
but kukaa na mother-in-law ex, kama mnakaa na mother-in-law, put your foot down, tell that man, oh yeah, abu tuhame down tukakae bed sitter. Mimi nitavumilia mashida za bed sitter kuliko za mother-in-law.
Willis, it all comes, every relationship comes to how those two people look at each other and how they respect each other and their expectations of each other. You know, when Annitah talks about family, well, I've lived with family. I've brought in people, whether they were my wife's siblings or my siblings, and we worked it out. You just need to understand your boundaries. There are people who have had mothers-in-law as women who were protective of them. Mothers-in-law who would be talking to their sons and saying, treat your wife well. I wouldn't want us to, you know, diminish the role of those kind of women out there who keep their sons in check. The wives of their sons know that if anything is trouble, I can run to my mother-in-law. They're not looking at, they're not enabling their sons' bad behaviors. There are certain women like that, where you find even when a woman is chased out of her house, she feels very comfortable going to the mother-in-law and saying, this is what happened. And the mother will call the son and say, you're not treating your wife well. They're also those kind of good mothers-in-law. So we shouldn't just, you know, throw a blanket like every mother-in-law is coming to interfere. But it still comes back to how do these two people relate? Because everybody that interferes in your relationship has been given permission.
True. Amen.
Everybody that interferes has been given permission in one way or the other. If the man does not allow his family or his friends, his fraternity to interfere, they will never interfere. If the woman does not allow, they'll never interfere. So sometimes we are fighting the other people. You see, you will push one person out. You push the mother-in-law out. Then the next time you hear it is his friends who are now influencing that marriage. Because the person is just refusing to own up his decisions, he's refusing to take responsibility, and he's always trying to find something else. So you move his friends away, then you will find there's somebody else. The person must be addressed, and the person who has got to be addressed is your spouse. And you say, look, we're having this. I think we need to discuss this within the scope of our marriage. We're not handling finances well. We're not doing well with money. I don't mind you sending some money to your parents. I just need to know. We need to make a decision over that. And we know when we can send, how much we can send, because we also have certain other issues that we need to do over here. We've got kids to take care of. We need to have family savings. We've got our own investments. And then we can send some, both of us. That becomes easier. And then you see, how do we send even on both sides? You're not coming into marriage and then you stick supporting the entire village on the other side and then you ignore your wife over here. So I think that thing has got to be brought into the place of, look, I'm not trying to cut you off, but I'm here now to help you, and you're here to help me. Because if I start doing what you're doing, we will not have a marriage. If I also decide that I'm just going to focus on my family and you and your family, then we're not going to have a marriage. So for this marriage to work, we need to be a family first. Then we relate with the other people. That conversation needs to be held between those two people, because everybody else we are blaming. Well, if you open up the cage, you don't blame the lion for coming out.
Yeah. Yes. Karenga Simon anasema hivi, it's me to be called and not the wife, and vice versa. Annitah Raey, wacha hizo. Then the Ngozi says a big mistake women make is to get into a relationship to tame a man. Then Kibe_whom says a married man should not take advice from his mom. Annitah Raey, wow. He says, if you can't get along with my mom, just walk.
Should they answer him?
That is according to Kibe. Yeah, you will get a chance.
Sure.
And then, somebody else brought an idea of mambo ya pesa ya 1,000. Haina noma. So yes, talk Kibe.
If you don't get along with my mom, are you...
Unatembeza kiatu.
The answer might be rude. Because it's the answer I started with initially. Are you marrying your mother? Are you going to marry your mother? You know, at the end of the day, you can't put ultimatums like, if you don't get along with my mom, you can. Why? You're not marrying your mother. You will never marry your mother. That's beyond it. So don't ask someone. You can force a relationship between your mother and your wife. There might be two different personalities that you both love at the same time. Don't give us those shady ultimatums. If my mother doesn't like you, when you are marrying your mother? And that's a genuine question. I cannot at now, because I'm imagining Annitah kitamba hiyo nywele yako, my mother won't like it. Do you like the hair? Yes. See, then let's work with that. You know, do you like my tattoos? Let's work with that. Do you like what I do? Why are we liking? Why does your mother have to like me? You get? We just have to respect each other to live with each other. I always think love is overrated and liking people, because even in everything you do, if you respect someone enough, you can coexist with them. So don't ask me to come and start pleasing your mother. Mimi kwanza hiyo tabia titendo shago nifanyie recruitment at yo and ukatata maji kwa mtu. It's been real, by the way.
CJ, even as you respond to that as well, somebody here agrees with you, says that CJ, you're right. The relationship is not just between two people, but two can still solve the problems together. When reach a point where the communications become hard, then maybe they can involve somebody else. But somebody else, chini tu ya hiyo comment, anaitwa ni Neve, huyu mwingine anakuwa anaitwa Cheskeni. Huyu ni Neven, anasema, how can one choose between the woman that has given you the man of you who you've been living with, has nurtured him from the time he was a baby, and now he's your husband? Surely that is impossible.
Why do men act like we don't give them anything when we get married? I'm giving you the rest of my life. You know, I'm serious. At you, I breastfed
you know,
you,
Annitah, there is this thing that also you get to understand about men, because you love talking about men need to understand. That's one of your famous statements. That men need to understand.
Men need to understand.
So this Annitah needs to understand. No, you need to understand that men operate from a safe place. And to most of them, their mother represents a safe place. That is not to, validate people being mama's boys. Amen. And that is not to support the fact that they need to put their wives versus their mothers. No, I'm just trying to explain where they're coming from. But then sometimes they don't know how to make a transition. So they're relating with their wives from a point of fear, and they feel their mothers are a safe place. It's probably also how men, growing up, boys talking to their fellow boys, and they're thinking, you don't know, you can't trust girls nowadays, they can leave you, something like this. So somebody's coming into a relationship. I think our foundations in relationships are very wrong. True. People are coming in, and you're looking at the other person like somebody you don't want to be with, and yet at the same time you want to be with them. So they're thinking they might leave you, they might break your heart, they might cheat on you, they might go with somebody else, they might just disappear. So this person is coming with a lot of fears, and then they feel this is a safe place. So they keep on feeling like, I would rather have the safe place. If they knew that there was no option out of a relationship, they would work it out. That's what needs to...
But CJ, in life, nobody is permanent, including your parents. In life, everybody leaves you. It's either by heartbreak, it's either by death, it's either by fate. People leave. They are not always going to be there. And that's what we need to understand, not even as men, as people. You have to understand, people leave. This life, even you will leave people at some point. So once you understand that, you'll stop holding on. And CJ, sometimes I think you men ask too much from women you're marrying. You want me to understand that your mother is your safe place. Nafa nikuja na nini? How do I come? Should I come with I'm
or
just
even
saying,
your mother. There are women who also
but what do you want me to do? You're already putting me on so much pressure of starting. Unataka nifanye. I will never be your mother. Men need to understand that.
So that's why I brought the whole thing on the man. I put the whole burden on the man. And I say, you see, because the reason he feels safe with his mother is what that guy is saying. He has related with her for a long time. The reason he is marrying this woman, you have dated. So the only way then for the mother-in-law and the woman to connect, is to give them time. They also have to have a courtship in quotes. They cannot just hit it off the very first day. They have to have time, know each other, learn each other, preferences, things that one would like, one would not like, and all of that. Then it takes time. So you cannot expect your wife to hit it off with your mother the very first day, because you did not hit it off like that with your wife on the very first day. It takes time to build relationships. To put that expectation on somebody else is to be very unrealistic. I want you to meet my mother today, and the two of you will have a lot of stories to tell. So manage the expectations, both on your mother and on the girl. Manage expectations. But again, respect will demand certain things. You know, there are places, Annitah, whether you like it or not, you'll have to change how you dress. It may not be just for your mother-in-law. It may be a certain function.
Am I dressed enough well for my... That was what you said.
So you don't look at it. You don't look at it. You know the Swahili. I think it's Swahili. They say heshima si utumwa, right? Yeah. So it's not. You don't have to look at it like somebody's taking something away from you. You look at it as just for the sake of respect. There are things that we'll do in certain places. There are things that may not do in certain places. You have to look at your environment also, so that you're not feeling like, you know, you stay on that side, I'm a millennial, you're on that side, you do your thing, I do my thing. Sometimes to win people over, you've got to make some compromises, and it should not be looked at as a loss that somebody's making.
Yeah. We have Jaro Soja here. Yeah, nakwanga anasema, my wife Emma Owanga is watching the show. And she's saying, thank God she got a good mother-in-law. My mom, Alice Bonyo, is just a good mom. Hey. Anyway, yes, you had a question.
Before we even got to that, but CJ, let me go back a bit to where I said how mothers always say, oh, wajua nililea mtoto, I had this child, I struggled, oh, wajua I was in labor for how many hours, this child breastfed for 3 years, this child I have raised him, oh yeah, hold it there. Now you have given me this child. I have taken him. This child, I am going to have kids for him also. Let's also put things on the table. I am going to be dealing with him as a grown-up child. Because men, really, when you grow up, as a wife, you have to be a, Tina Donna, what's her name? You have to be a mother figure. Yeah. You also have to be Beyonce. You have to be Cardi B and Sinachi all in one. You're praying for this man. You're being the girlfriend. You're playing wife. It's hard work maintaining that man. So mothers, don't always pull that card of I raised him. We are raising him now. Because somehow you end up raising him, and you're raising his kids. So it's not a competition of what you've given to him. You cannot equate anything to a mother's love, to a mother's raising. So also mother-in-laws, when we come, hatuna ubaya, hatuna akitupatia any space. Hakuna msichana alikuja na ubaya kwako, na hakuna msichana anakunyang'anya mtoto. He's yours. He's always going to be your son, and both women need to understand that. He's always going to his mother's son, and he's always going to be your husband. Those won't change. But pia wanaume, it will not be too much to ask you to put your foot down and put both women in place.
I think so. I think that the whole thing, it just boils down to the man.
It's
true. It just boils down to the man. It boils down to the man. Otherwise, you know, you will keep on having issues and issues and issues. Yeah. Because both these women love you. Both these women would understand you. They would want to understand you. So if you talk to them, it will be easier to deal with it from that point. Of course, you cannot make your wife always, every weekend, you're going to visit your mother. Like, she also doesn't have a mother or a family, so it's always... you can't do that she's always going to visit your mother. You cannot always bring up, you know, what your mother said in every conversation. You cannot always just put like your mother's priority. There are those cases sometimes, Willis, that are a bit different. Maybe the mother is sick, and that even your wife would understand. You know, there's certain cases that are a bit special, but on a day-to-day basis, you need to focus right here. And then you both relate. Now, both of you are the children of that mother. It's not just the son, on both sides, because you also become a son to your wife's mother. If you don't respect your wife's mother, then she also will feel disrespected. So you both become the children of both these parents, and then you play it out like that. Not that thing of, you know, blue corner versus green corner. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll like to end it there. So many people have been tweeting here and also supporting you to some extent. Like when you said there is nothing as irritating as a man who says my mother saved. Watu wamengia hapa ndio, yes. Catherine Marana anasema exactly. Dungu anasema yenye, Annitah, you have a sixth sense.
Can you preach that gospel more often?
And then also Kenny says that Annitah ushasema wanaume amesema wabadilike warai. Ukishapata mke, they know that she's your wife. Ushakuwa a grown up man. Right. Well, of course, like we always say, if you need more coaching, more conversations around this, you're going to feel free to reach out. You can reach out to CJ. You can listen to Annitah's show, by the way, as well.
Yes, every Monday to Friday from 10 p.m. to 1 in the a.m. All the things that I can't say here,
she says there.
Oh, yeah.
And every Tuesday with Robert Burale.
Every Monday we have RB. Yes, every Monday.
Yes, every Monday. Yes, sir.